Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under with my in-depth guide on video game shoutcasting, particularly how to start shoutcasting for competitive esports and develop it to a professional level. For the majority of people not familiar with video games, the term shoutcaster would be extremely confusing. In its most basic form, a shoutcaster is simply a pseudonym for an internet radio DJ or commentator. The most well-known comparison is the well-known sports, like football, AFL, and so on. The people that talk over the game are known as commentators, so a video game shoutcaster fulfills an identical role, but in terms of competitive electronic sports, otherwise known as esports. In order to actually shoutcast, there is a variety of equipment and programs that are needed. As a rule of thumb, these are chosen to optimize the quality and thus entertainment value of the shoutcast. However, your setup does not need to be extremely expensive. For example, in the League of Legends Championship Series, the premier competition, the shoutcasters there use the Sennheiser HMD professional broadcast headset, which retails for $450. This level of quality is not needed. In terms of equipment, the most basic necessity is a microphone and headphones. In 99% of cases, a headphone and dedicated mic combo will be better than a headset. For the headphones, I've gone and listed my personal favourites on the screen. However, there are some alternatives and I've gone and posted a link in the description below going highlighting these in a fantastic guide. For the individual microphone, there is less choice due to there being one outstanding product, the ModMic 4.0 by Antlion. This microphone can attach to any headphones with the build quality and sound quality right up there with some of the top end microphones like the Samson or the Blue Yeti, what I'm using right now. It also does not block your screen, has a relatively low price and is a perfect microphone for shoutcasting. Software is the other component which compiles the microphone sound and the video game footage together into an actual video. With this, there are two options: live streaming, which streams the footage live to a website, or uploading the video to a website like YouTube. The number one program to do this with is Open Broadcaster Software, otherwise known as OBS. In comparison to the other alternatives, paid or otherwise, OBS is the best due to it being powerful, easy to use, open source, and completely free. Be wary, if you don't have a satisfactory upload speed over 1.0 megabit per second, then live streaming won't be a viable option. So with everything set up, the next step is to start shoutcasting. Most people are extremely daunted with this, thinking there is another step they need. You don't ask permission, you don't ask how do I start, says Riot's Freak, you just start. To get the metaphorical meat on the bones is so important, as the more you cast, the more experience you'll get, and naturally you will get better. What the cast, you may ask? Start with some low tier gameplay by spectating some of your friends. This is so you won't be berated for making some really big mistakes. Step it up later by casting some scrims, which is a practice match, usually before one of the teams goes into a more serious match, and then by casting some professional matches. For games like LoL, this is not possible, but for games like Counter-Strike, there are demos, interactive replays on sites like HLTV. No matter what your skill level is, no matter what your knowledge is, record a baseline and compare it to your cast a couple of months later. For example, here's a snippet of a shoutcast I did in February, and I'm also going to go and re-commentate it to show you how I'll do it now. Give a bit of an advantage to himself. However, the Solar Flare coming down, but a re-engage right here from Nightblue, going straight in, kicks a double lift backwards. That was a pretty troll. However, Leona Leona's going to go down, and Janna goes and sacrifices herself. The Requiem coming in, but Nocturne's gonna go try to mop up. Twitch trying to unload onto Leona, but doing absolutely no damage. A great Solar Flare goes and slows two members, and now it's a 2v3. Nightblue actually goes and kicks a double lift back, saving his life. However, with all that, Leona goes and dies. Though Infinity has been popped, Twisted Fate teleporting in, he picks up one kill. Is he gonna go and get some others? When I first started this research project, I interviewed a shoutcaster by the name of Reed Melton, otherwise known as Rapid Casting. He said that, quote, "Knowledge of the game is what qualifies you as a caster. The more knowledge you have, the better you are at accurately describing what is going on to the viewers." With that in mind, gaining knowledge about the game is simply a task of being more and more familiar with the game. Personally, this was by constantly playing a game, so the champion names and ability names in certain spots were second nature. The characteristics of these abilities and champions, e.g. guns in CSGO, also regularly change, so keeping up to date is absolutely crucial to explain certain elements of the game, be it through reading patch notes or regularly checking into Reddit, because your aim as a shoutcast is to go and entertain, but also to go and educate so people can learn more about the game. However, there is another aspect, that being the players, teams, and the constantly changing metagame. This is by keeping up to date with not only your own region, in my case Oceania, but also the other regions around the world. It's even said by Riot themselves, their requirements for an esports shoutcaster states that you, quote, "meticulously follow every pro match, tournament and team to keep current with the global LoL competitive scene." In order to complete this, absolute preparation is needed. A lack of preparation will almost certainly make a great game, a bad cast, and a terrible game even worse. Quoting Redeye, the head of content and media at ESL. A lack of preparation will lead to second guessing as well. I think that person used that ability, or I think he used that strategy, or something along those lines. No one wants to go and watch a shoutcaster talk about stuff in game that they themselves don't know anything about. So great, you have all this fantastic knowledge, but you have absolutely no way to convey that to the viewer. How do I say it? What do I say? And at what time? This all comes under the strict standards for a shoutcaster. Shoutcasting, regardless of what sport, is broken down into two equally important roles, the play-by-play caster and the color caster. The play-by-play caster is the person that brings the hype and the excitement in major team fights or skirmishes, calling out the big plays. This is done by saying rather than explain.
That was a Talisman of Ascension used there too, so they want Chowster on this. Looks like they are going to get him. Double Lip putting himself in a scary situation here. It may be enough though. The knock up and the lockdown, the armor pen is applied, and it looks like they're going to be able to get Cross as well. Those are the plays Counter Logic Game was looking for. Boy, you're way too close. 3 shots, another kill, a triple kill.
The color cast is a person that analyzes said major team fight or skirmish, explaining why it occurred and how is it going to affect the global landscape of the game. Basically, the specifics and in-depth detail.
Mid lane here, it's going to force something from SKT. SKT having Shen split pushing, he's going to have to join the fight if there's a hard engage. This is all on the next Gragas ulti.
Personally, a good color commentator will be able to go and present a lot of information for the hardcore players and then make it relatively easy to understand for the newer players trying to get into the game. Now saying that, each of these roles are extremely different and mastering both is the key to becoming a fantastic solo shoutcaster. However, most just focus on one and duocast. However, in general, regardless of role, any shoutcaster must have a voice. It's ridiculously cliched, but some people just don't have the voice to do this type of job. A good voice can be improved on, but never learned, and that's the harsh truth. Loosely linked to it is the element of screen presence, being charismatic and confident while commentating. This is important for both roles, but more so for the play-by-play caster, as this role generally requires a more upbeat attitude. This confidence links into the words that you say. Being confident and prepared will give you total conviction in what you say, making it seem more like a fact rather than a guess. But on the flip side, it's important not to get too carried away. It's crucial to be excited at the right moments. Time after time I've seen forced excitement, and this simply degrades the shoutcast. If you're excited the whole time, the excited parts just don't seem as special, so a balance is definitely needed. Professionalism is another important standard for a shoutcaster, as you're not only representing yourself, but also the players and possibly a shoutcasting organisation. The first component being criticism, more so for the color commentator as they are analysing. Various times throughout a match, players will make various mistakes, and it's natural to go in and discuss the better alternative. Chris Puckett from MLG suggests to simply not even talk about it, and this is reflected by most shoutcasters. Generally, praising the individual that won the fight is a better option and will give the shoutcast a more positive tone. When it comes to swearing, it's very simple, just don't do it. So with what to do in mind, how to properly say is another point altogether. No matter if you realise it or not, vocal techniques are paramount when it comes to shoutcasting. Volume modulation is the most basic vocal technique, but by far one of the most important. Depending on the situation, you will talk louder, let's say in big fights, or quieter, more tense moments. But to continually swap between these maximums and minimums is detrimental to the cast. Attempt to stay at a baseline volume and deviate each way for short periods of time. This goes hand in hand with the pace of your shoutcast, how fast you speak. Most viewers do not like shoutcasters speaking fast, so the general rule of thumb is to slow down. This is especially important for color commentators, as slowing down your speech will add emphasis to your points. Now, in terms of slowing down, this may not seem natural at first, so attempt to simply take a breath after each sentence. This will force the viewer to absorb what you just said, since there's no new information coming in. This breathing control will also enhance your articulation, making it easier to pronounce longer words. Another key technique is dead air. Shoutcasters have the natural tendency to continue talking throughout the whole game, trying to fill the cast with as much information and knowledge as possible. Sometimes this is not advisable and can even hurt the shoutcast in others. Or it's the other way around, where they just don't talk enough and there's long, awkward gaps that are just really cringe-worthy to go in here. Sometimes nothing needs to be said. Be it the end of an epic game or a super tense moment, the silence does wonders to go and capture the attention of viewer, and sometimes that needs to go and occur. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I made this ages ago for my research project final outcome, but I thought I would go and upload it. I know I'm not that good as a caster, and I know the detail I put into this video is not really that high, especially since it had to be under 12 minutes. I originally wanted to be like 20-25 minutes because I had so much to say, but when you think about it, the restrictions for SACE, which is the curriculum and education thingy, they said it has to be under 12 minutes. So it was under 12 minutes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you go and give it a like rating. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes, all the way from Down Under, out.